All right, everybody, so this is the video that we've all been waiting for. We're gonna give you a driving tour of all of Colorado Springs and surrounding areas. It's gonna be a long video. Feel free to break it up into multiple sessions if you would like to. What we are doing is we're starting, I'll give you an intersection. Of course, we'll pop up a map here so you can see it. So we are at the corner of Meridian Road and Hodgen, far northeast side of what is considered Colorado Springs. Well outside the city limits, we're up in Black Forest right now. So what we're gonna do today is we're gonna do this driving tour. We're gonna kind of think of it like a clock. So I'm kind of doing the 12 to 3 o'clock-ish roughly of Colorado Springs. I'm gonna pull over here real quick so we got somebody behind us. So I might be driving a little slow today. So anyway, what we're doing is you're gonna get to listen to me yap for a little bit, if you will, about Colorado Springs, and then you're gonna get to listen to 3 other team members as well. What we did is we just kind of broke it up into areas that we live close to. We all know that, hey, you know, even though we've all been here over a decade, all of us know Colorado Springs really well. You just know your personal, kind of the area you're closest to a little bit better. So I live up in the Black Forest area, so I'm gonna handle the northeast side of Colorado Springs for you. So right now we are cruising westbound on Hodgen Road. So again, this is going through the Black Forest right now. There's not a whole lot of stuff to look at except for beautiful trees and nature, if you will. On the right-hand side is Winsome, which if you've watched some of our videos, you may have seen us do a little video on Winsome. It's a new development that's starting. It's all 2.5 to 5 acre lots. It was a big ranch of about 900 acres that sold here just recently. Pros and cons to that, of course. You know, I think everyone that lives out here like I do, we kind of like the open space, but such as progress, I suppose. So anyway, that's Winsome that you see over there on the right-hand side with the new homes going up. On the left-hand side, the cool thing about Black Forest is there is a lot of open space. So this is actually a large tract of land that's owned by the Audubon Society. They lease the land to a ranching company. It's called Corner Post Meats. Actually, an old fraternity brother of mine is the operator of the ranch for Corner Post Meats. So that's all the land that you're seeing to the left. And of course, you can see it, probably can, beautiful view of Pikes Peak over there to the left as well. Got some snow on the peak last night, it looks like. So anyway, so Black Forest, you know, we've talked about it a little bit in the past, but it's a rural area just northeast of Colorado Springs. There are some developments like what we saw in Winsome. There are a couple more of those in Black Forest where it's 2.5 acre lots. Sometimes you can find down to an acre lot, but for the most part, it's 2.5 acre or more. Don't come knock on my door or anything necessarily, but we are passing the street that I personally live on as well. So like I said, I live out in this area and know it really well. There's a big demand for Black Forest right now. I think there's just a lot of people trying to kind of get outside of the city a little bit, whether that was started from COVID or just some other reasons. People being able to telework now. People are trying to kind of get outside of Colorado Springs. It seems like a little bit, there's still a crazy amount of demand for in town, but there seems like there's a little bit more demand than usual for people to get up into Black Forest. So prices have definitely went up a lot in the forest as well. Over on the left-hand side too, you can see that it kind of looks like there's some open areas. That's actually where there was the Black Forest fire. It's probably been, gosh, probably 7 years ago now. It was a really bad fire in the area, burned over 500 houses, caused a lot of damage to the area. So that's it's kind of the nature of the beast, if you will. If you live in the western U.S. and you live in the trees, wildfire is always a little bit of a concern. So since that fire, the area and all the neighbors, everybody has done a really good job of mitigating their properties. So anyway, that's kind of what's going on at this part of the Black Forest. Like I said, we're driving back west now. We're just gonna kind of stair step down street. So while we're kind of just driving, looking at trees right now, I'll tell you, we're gonna go west on Hodgen. We're gonna drop down Highway 83, and then we are going to show you the Interquest Northgate area. We're gonna spend a decent amount of time in Northgate, and then we're gonna go through kind of a southern part of Black Forest that's closer to Colorado Springs, and then we're gonna wrap up on Woodland Road, and we're gonna go all the way out to Falcon and show you guys that area. So like I said, you're gonna get a good feel of the entire north end of Colorado Springs. So this off of Hodgen, once you kind of pop out of the trees a little bit and you'll see the northeast of Colorado Springs. It's a mix of thick pine trees, and then also just kind of wide open, kind of prairie, if you will. Some people really like to be in the trees. Some people don't like to be in the trees at all. So it just kind of depends on what you're looking for. But you can most certainly find both of them. And now we're seeing some good views of Pikes Peak off to the left. You can probably see there a little bit. And these are those lots I was talking about earlier. A lot of them are 5-acre parcels in this part of Black Forest. And this road, we're not going to do it today because we're going to focus on Colorado Springs. But if we were to continue straight when we get to the intersection up here of Highway 83, continuing straight, we'll take you right into Monument. So Monument is a separate town. It's getting almost tied to Colorado Springs at this point, just with the growth to the north side of town. But we're not going to do Monument today. We'll do a little tour of Monument here for another video. But there's a lot of folks that they get interested in Monument as well. It's just a cool little town, like I said, that's just outside of Colorado Springs. And if you live in the Black Forest, you're usually kind of split evenly between Falcon, which is a town that we're going to see today. Falcon, Monument, and Colorado Springs. Kind of just depends on where exactly you live at in Black Forest. It's kind of which area is closer for, gas, shopping, all that kind of stuff. All right, so we're getting pretty close to the intersection of Highway 83 and Hodgen Road, but there's a development that I think it's a great development on the northeast side of town. It's called High Forest Ranch. It's a gated community. I've had a couple clients that have lived there. I think the smallest lot is probably, maybe an acre, maybe a little bit smaller than an acre in there, but a lot of them are kind of that 1 acre to 2.5 acres. Homes are very, very nice. It's 7 figures, kind of the starting price point. Maybe you can get in there for the high 900s for one of the smaller homes. But it's a beautiful area. Like I said, you're in Black Forest, so you're in the trees. But it's a gated community. People, super safe. Kids can ride bicycles around, all that kind of stuff without really worrying about them. But it's just a really nice community, and it's a highly sought after community as well on the north end of town. There's no more building in there. All the lots have been sold, so everything's built out. I think the last house I can think of being built in there, was probably maybe 3 years ago now or so. So it's been built out for a while, and the homes probably started in the first homes, were probably early mid-2000s maybe. It's when High Forest Ranch started. So anyways, I wanted to point that out. And like I said, we're going to turn left here, and this is going to be Highway 83. So Highway 83 is going to turn into Interquest. And Interquest is going to take us down kind of into the heart of the north side of Colorado Springs. And that's where we're going to get into like a lot of commercial development, shops, restaurants, stuff like that. So that's just right down the road. So the cool thing about Black Forest too, I think, is you feel like you're in, kind of in the mountains of Colorado. Depending on where you're at in Black Forest, you may or may not have views of Pikes Peak in the Front Range. For some folks, views of the mountains is a huge thing, and they say, if I'm going to live in Colorado, I want to be able to see the mountains, which I totally get that. For me personally, our last home that my wife and I had great views of Pikes Peak, and I don't know if it's good or bad, but we lived there for 10 years, and honestly, you just kind of forgot the view was even there, and you really didn't look at it anymore. So for us, it was more important to kind of be in the trees on some acreage, so that's what we opted for. But you can get both in Black Forest, whether you want views of the Pikes Peak or you just kind of want to be a little bit more secluded in the trees, or a little mix of both. You can certainly find that. So the cool thing about Black Forest is you really do feel like you're in kind of like just, wilderness of Colorado to some extent, depending on exactly where you're at, but you're only 20 minutes from Colorado Springs. I mean, I think it's from our house to this intersection is 8 minutes. So it's less than 20 minutes to the Northgate area, shopping, dining, whatever kind of stuff you might want to do. And then to my office, which is downtown Colorado Springs, it's about 30 minutes. So just kind of give you a little bit of an idea of the kind of drive times from this part of town. And like I said, as we continue our tour today, we're going to work down farther south, which will be closer to, I guess you could say, the heart of Colorado Springs, and actually in Colorado Springs, the city proper. Black Forest, it's a Colorado Springs address, but it's not necessarily, you're not in the city limits or anything, if you will. All right, so we've got High Forest Ranch, again, is on the left-hand side. There's a new development. It's only about probably 10 houses. It's going to go in on the right-hand side. It seems like anything this part of town, it's any vacant land is being bought by developers and built out right now. So it's just, the town's growing a lot. It's growing a lot to the north side of town for sure. And as we go down Highway 83, so headed south now, you'll see that there's some older homes in this area and some roads off to the right that go over towards Roller Coaster Road, where their homes are, anywhere from, honestly, 80s up until new build. So just as lots have kind of been bought and sold, people have built houses a long time ago. This used to be way outside of Colorado Springs up here. You were truly out in the country, and now just with all the infill and development this way, all those vacant lots are being built out right now. So one thing that is a big development as we go down Highway 83 here, it's going to be on the left-hand side. All you're going to see as we drive by is just a fire station. We're not going to do a detailed neighborhood drive-through today, but this is Flying Horse North on Stagecoach Road, Flying Horse North. And again, we're Stagecoach Highway 83. It's a very nice community. It's extension, or not the next phase, but just another development under the Flying Horse name. So Flying Horse is a community that started in Colorado Springs in like the mid-2000s. Classic Homes is the developer of it. There's a lot of other builders in there, but they were the developer of it. It's a golf course community, high-end homes. Although there's certain parts of it that are gated, that are well in the 7 figures, and then there's other parts that are kind of just normal subdivision, if you will. Homes are in the 700s there. So Flying Horse North was another parcel of land that was bought by Classic, and they developed it. So it's another golf course community. So Flying Horse North has its own separate 18-hole golf course. Currently, all the lots are 2.5 acres plus, although they are trying to do some rezoning to get those lot sizes smaller so they can put a few more homes in there. To be perfectly upfront, there's a lot of scuttlebutt about that. Some people are not very happy about that. We have some clients that their home actually is in a development called Cathedral Pines that we'll drive by later today, but it abuts to Flying Horse North, and a lot of people in that community are not really excited about the developer making those lot sizes smaller and putting more homes in there. But Flying Horse North, very nice community, some amazing homes in there. A friend of mine is actually working on the build for a home that's about almost $4 million in there, so a very, very nice house. All right, so now we're going to come up on the Flying Horse area. Excuse me. So the area to our left is just larger home sites, like 20-acre lots. There's actually a 40-acre lot. What used to be the highest price sale in Colorado Springs history, if you will, just happened last year. It was a 56-acre parcel, and the home was about 14,000 square feet. It sold for about $7 million, just on the left-hand side over there. And on the right-hand side, where we're going to turn, this is Northgate Boulevard. So Northgate goes all the way out to to Interstate 25. So this development that we're going to drive through is that Flying Horse development that I was talking about. So as we get in here and as we go down Northgate, so again, now we're headed west towards Interstate 25. You can see there's some commercial stuff on the right-hand side. Walter's Pizzeria, it's a pretty good pizza place. Everybody's seen a gas station before, don't need to talk about that. And now we're going to get into the residential stuff of Flying Horse. So on the left-hand side, as we're driving right now, these are gated parts of Flying Horse. So there's kind of sub-communities within Flying Horse, and some of them are gated. So this is a gated one, and it's, I guess, the lower end price point of the gated community portions of Flying Horse, if that makes sense. There's a very nice club, a really, really nice rec center kind of club type of place in Flying Horse that you can pay to be a member of. Like I mentioned, it's an 18-hole golf course as well. And up behind the golf course and the club is a very exclusive gated community. Those homes are well into the 7 figures up there. On the right-hand side, we drove through some of the area of Flying Horse, and this is Discovery Canyon campus. So this is a middle school and high school for District 20. So everything that we're driving through right now is District 20 schools. And just continuing on the left-hand side is just continued development of Flying Horse. Now you can see as we're getting farther to the west, obviously some amazing views of Pikes Peak up in this part of town. And I don't know if you can see it in the camera over the roofs of the houses, but you can actually see the Air Force Stadium out there as well in the foothills. It's tough to really nail down what the the most desirable, quote unquote, desirable part of Colorado Springs is right now. But I would say that the north end of town is definitely on in the top 3 for sure. There's a lot of demand for downtown, but the north end of town, the price points are higher. Homes are a little bit bigger. Things are newer, I guess, overall. And the north end of town, just as development is kind of went this way. So we're still driving through the Flying Horse area right now, and we're going to get up here to closer to I-25 at this Northgate interchange, and there's going to be a lot of commercial stuff. So I'm going to kind of take a little bit of time touring you guys around that area as well. Now this community over to the left, this is called Greyhawk, so it joins right up to Flying Horse, but it's not part of the Flying Horse community. It's Greyhawk. Homes in there, similar to some of them in Flying Horse, a little bit smaller. Lots are a little bit smaller. Price points are a little bit lower, so that's nice. You're in the 500s to get into that community. All right, so now we're coming up on some commercial stuff, so I'll just kind of real quick kind of run through what's up here. There's Sprouts Grocery Store. There's an Ace Hardware. A lot of banks everywhere, it seems like. A couple restaurants, Mexican restaurant in that area right there. And then as we go forward here, we're going to turn right before we get to I-25. We're going to go through this little commercial section, and then we're going to head south a little bit. So this area is, I would say, where the most active building is in this, at least on the commercial side, is in this Northgate Interquest area that we're going to be in here for the next few minutes. So this area, the store that kind of anchors the commute, or this area, is Bass Pro Shops. So Bass Pro Shops went in, it's been here for a few years now. When it was built, there really wasn't much up here at all as far as commercial, and now everything's just kind of grown up around it. So we're going to turn right here. This is Bass Pro Drive, I think is the name of it, interestingly enough. So as we drive, you can kind of see there's Mod Pizza, there's a Jimmy John's, a lot of stuff to eat up here. There's some other restaurants, a Brass Taps, a decent little bar up here. So there's some commercial development up here, restaurants and like some shopping, types of places, Boot Barn right there. So there's also some entertainment stuff that's popped up here. So you can see Overdrive Raceway over on the left. That's a go-kart racing place. It's pretty cool. Boot Barn Hall, this is, I think, one of the best music venues in Colorado Springs for sure. They have stuff every weekend there, usually Friday, Saturday, Sunday, sometimes during the week as well. So that's pretty cool. And then you can see a couple more restaurants here, Mexican restaurant and Bourbon Brothers. And then over on the right there was Bass Pro. So Bass Pro, like I said, it's been here for a while. If you're an outdoors person, that's a big draw to the area. Always fun shopping there. Over to the right, this where it's under construction, that's going to be it's like an indoor skydiving place. Some of you may have done that before, skydiving or indoor. I've never done the indoor skydiving. It seems like it's going to be pretty cool. And then straight ahead is Top Golf. Top Golf just opened up a couple weeks ago, so that's a big thing for us. There's a couple Top Golfs up in Denver, but that's the first one down here in Colorado Springs, so that's been a pretty big draw for people as well. So now we're just kind of going the back way. You can see Overdrive Raceway there, the go-kart racing place I talked about. That's there on the left. And we're going to drive on the kind of this little side street here, and it's going to pop us out on Voyager, and we're going to take Voyager south down to Interquest. And the Voyager area is, the homes range from early 2000s, maybe some late 90s, up until currently being built. And I'll talk through some of that as well, and I'll kind of tell you guys some of the other things that's up in this Northgate area. So again, we're going to be turning south on Voyager Parkway. And this whole north end of town, it's all kind of known as Northgate. I would say Interquest up to north of Northgate up to Monument. That's the term you'll typically hear is Northgate for kind of talking about that entire area. Chick-fil-A, everybody loves Chick-fil-A, so got one of those up here. And this is a new interchange, takes you straight out to I-25, so it's really super easy access off of Voyager to the interstate now, which is nice. A lot of folks that live in this area are happy about that, a little quicker access. This road is actually, this won't make a lot of sense unless you're looking at a map. We'll try to pop one up right now. If you go from this new interchange, it'll actually wrap all the way to the north side of Powers Boulevard. It'll actually go through the Flying Horse community. On the right hand side, Beast and Brews. That's a really cool restaurant and bar. They have, what makes it unique, which I think is pretty cool, is whenever you go in, you get your food, and if you're gonna have drinks, they just give you a little card, and all of the beers on tap, and they even have wine and liquor on tap too. There's a big tap area in the middle of the restaurant, and you just go up, scan your card, and pour your own beer. It can get dangerous, so not for the faint of heart, obviously, but Beast and Brews is a really cool place. We did an interview with the head chef there. It's probably been, probably is pre-COVID, honestly, but anyway, super good place. On the left-hand side right here, these are apartments. So again, we're headed south on Voyager. Left-hand side, that's apartment buildings over there. And then we're coming up on more residential stuff on the left-hand side. Kind of goes from the lower part where we're at up to the high part of the hill. Prices go up as you go. Your Stone Crossing is the name of the neighborhood. You're probably, I would say you're probably 6s to buy in there, maybe high 5s. And as you get up higher on the hill, you're definitely up into the 8s and 9s. The right-hand side right now is a little community called Stonewater. It was all built by one builder. It's about 84 houses, if I remember right. Actually sold, I don't know, maybe like a third of the houses in there. I was working a little bit with the builder when they were building that, so it's a pretty cool little community. Price points were really low for the area. It was just a lot of bang for your bucks, why a lot of people bought in there. Then on the left-hand side, you can see a little bit more commercial stuff here on Voyager. There's a nice sushi restaurant back there. Duca's Pizza is pretty good. So there's a couple little nice places to eat up here. The big office building we just drove by, that was Compassion International's corporate headquarters. It's a Compassion International nonprofit organization that's based here in Colorado Springs. And on the right-hand side over here, you may have seen some newer homes they were under construction. That is the north side of a neighborhood called The Farm. And then now we see some older homes that actually are a pocket of homes in front of that, and the new development wraps around behind it. So these homes, both sides of the street right now, your 500s plus to be up here, probably high 5s, I would say. Most homes are going to be in the 600s up in this area, or like I said, high 5s for sure. That new community, The Farm, like I said, it's a new build community, so it's a few years old now, but they still have a lot of building out to do there. We've had a couple clients build in there. Really happy with it. Community's super cool. They've got a lake, more of a pond probably. If you're from back east, it's definitely a pond, but we like to call things lakes out here that are bodies of water. So it's got a little pond lake that you can kayak around. It's got a rec center coming up on the main entrance to it. So right here in front of us to the right is the entrance to The Farm. That's the main entrance down to the community. And then that commercial space that we drove past back there, we couldn't really see it because we're kind of going the wrong way, but there's a coffee shop called Local Coffee that's back there. Super good coffee shop. They started with their location downtown Colorado Springs, but now they have one up here on the north side of town as well, again, just as things are going this way. All right, so now we're getting really close to the intersection of Voyager and Interquest. So what we're going to do before we get all the way to the intersection, we're actually going to turn and take one of the side roads here, and we're going to go drive through, again, just a little bit of kind of the commercial stuff so you can kind of see what you have to do up here on the north end of town. This area here these are apartment buildings that are newly built, both sides of the street right now. So these are apartments. I don't know if you call them luxury apartments, but they're nice apartment homes. And as we get past them, you're going to see some residential homes on the right-hand side. Classic Homes built these. It's called their Midtown collection, but they're 0 lot line homes, so no yard you have to take care of. All above grade, so 2 to 3 stories above the ground. So super low maintenance living. That's why a lot of people really, really like it. Price points in there, I think the last one that I saw resale was about $415, $420, somewhere in there. So now you're probably around, I would say, probably getting close to $450 now to be in that area. But it's a nice area if you live in this part of town, especially if you're single, young couple, maybe one kiddo. It's a nice option. And really, if you don't want to take care of a yard, that's the big thing too. That's really nice, is zero maintenance. Nice apartment community over here on the right as well, pool, outdoor area, and all that stuff. And it's straight in front of us. You probably saw the big Shields on the side of that building. Shields is a huge sporting goods store that I'm a huge fan of. They got everything you can think of, whether your kid plays soccer, lacrosse, whatever it is, football, baseball, basketball, anything you want. They got a big Trek bicycle section, great hunting outdoor area, camping, backpacking. So Shields is a new addition. It opened up I think they opened up pre-COVID, because I remember wearing a mask in there a lot. So they've been open for a little while, but maybe a couple years or so. So we're just going to drive down the front of the store. Not that you guys need this close of a view of Shields, but there's something else I want to show you over here. So Shields is a big draw for the north end of town. A lot of people like to just kind of come roam the aisles, if you will. And now, right in front of us, just off to the right a little bit, is Summit Bowling, and it's like a bowling and arcade place. It's pretty neat, especially if you like to bowl, I guess. Laser tag, they have laser tag in there. Looking at a hotel, that's not too exciting. We're gonna go behind this hotel because there's an area over here called Great Wolf Lodge. There's a movie theater. You'll be able to see Hollywood Theater, so movie theater on the north end of town here. And in this area, this hotel, if you know, that's really kind of what it is, more than a hotel, that I'll explain. Great Wolf Lodge. It was a hotel that was being built, and I honestly don't know exactly what happened, but it wasn't finished, and it sat vacant for a while. And now, several years ago, someone else bought it, and there's this, a lot of people will do a staycation here. It's kind of like a mini resort, honestly. So Great Wolf Lodge, they have huge water, pools, slides, water slides, all kinds of stuff inside that, I mean, it's just a great place for families. I'm going to kind of, as we turn around the corner here, you're going to see some of the slides actually, come outside and all that stuff. So this is the front of Great Wolf Lodge. So the reason I want to drive by here specifically, other than it's just a cool place to stay, especially if you have kiddos, is that if you are thinking about coming to Colorado Springs, or maybe you know you're coming here, you're going to come check it out for a little bit ahead of time, or you need a place to stay while you're getting settled, this is a really cool place to take the family, stay for a few days, stay for a weekend, whatever it might be, and just have a fun time whenever you get to Colorado Springs while you're, checking stuff out and getting to know the area a little bit. So Great Wolf Lodge, far north end of town, right off of Interquest and I-25. All right, so now we're going to drive back out to Interquest, and we're going to start heading east on Interquest. And I'm just going to show you guys kind of what's out that way. So right now, like I said, we're really close to I-25 in Interquest. So you can see it on the map, I-25 Interquest, and now we're going to start heading back east. And there's a lot of stuff that's been, you can see there's a lot of development in this area, and a lot of construction. So a lot of current development here. There's Cheddar's is a pretty decent restaurant. Colorado Mountain Brewery, we passed right back there. That's pretty good. Pretty much all the kind of normal fast food places. There's one of everything up here. Taco Bell, McDonald's, Burger King, whatever else you probably want. And there's some other fast food restaurants that aren't national chains, but they're local places that are pretty good. I'll kind of point those out as we drive by those as well. Starbucks. Got a Starbucks everywhere. I think everybody does these days. This is for people that may be potentially healthcare workers or maybe just want to be close to a hospital. Centura Health is building a new facility straight ahead of us now. We're at the intersection of Market Center Point and Interquest, and on this southwest intersection, currently under construction. They're kind of moving the dirt right now. It's going to be a large new medical center, so that'll be a nice thing for the north end of town. There's another large medical center, two actually, that we're going to drive by later on today, but none right in this very area. So the medical arena still continues to grow a lot here in Colorado Springs. It's a good portion of our economy. It's not to the level that military, defense, or tourism is by any means, but healthcare is certainly a good economic segment for us here in Colorado Springs for employment, and good employment, quality jobs, good paying jobs. All right, so we're headed eastbound on Interquest right now. On the left-hand side, there's a place coming up called Perry's Pizzeria. It's kind of like a little taproom pizzeria kind of place. It's really, really good. We've got a wide variety of menu stuff, specializing in pizza, obviously. And also on the left-hand side, highlight of the drive for me right now so far, is Torchy's Tacos. Torchy's Tacos is a great taco place, like street tacos. There's several of them in Denver. Anytime I'm in Denver, I always try to go to Torchy's Tacos, but they just opened one up down here, so that's exciting for me, if for nobody else maybe. But it's good stuff. So Torchy's is good. Let's see what else we got up here. It's Fuzzy Tacos. Fuzzy's Tacos is really good too. It's on the right-hand side. So that's just kind of the the commercial development stuff right in this area. That's man, like I said, the area, it's growing so fast up here. It's crazy. It seems like every time we drive through here, and this is the way that I drive every day, so it still seems like every time I drive, there's something new coming up. In-N-Out Burger, huge for us. The line is usually ridiculous. They're not quite open yet, but as soon as they open, the line is wrapped around the building. It's crazy. So In-N-Out is a big draw that we just recently got. Over on the right-hand side, you may not be able to see very well, kind of behind some of these other buildings, but there's a large building with some new construction going on. So that is, it was going to be an outdoor mall area, so kind of a walking mall, pedestrian type of mall, movie theater inside and stuff like that. And whenever the economy went into recession back in the mid to late 2000s, the developer went bankrupt basically, and it just sat vacant for like a decade almost. And everybody always wondered like what was going to happen. Finally, somebody else bought it, and now it's being developed, and it's going to be a pretty sweet shopping center, from what I understand. Like I said, there's currently a movie theater in there right now, but that's I think going to be a big anchor point of the Interquest kind of commercial shopping type of stuff. Pikes Peak Community College, just past that on the left back there. There's 2 branches for that. There's one down south, down by Fort Carson, and one up here on the north end of town. And now we're gonna kind of we're gonna transition back a little bit to a little bit more kind of rural area, and then we're gonna circle back through some more development. So again, just kind of sit back and enjoy the scenery for right now. We're gonna get back into Black Forest again. We're just kind of stair-stepping our way to the south. So we're going to get back into Black Forest a little bit, take you through the town of Black Forest proper, so you guys can kind of see what that is. And yeah, then we're just going to kind of come back into Colorado Springs, into the city, if you will, and check out some more stuff. So that's the plan for right now. This area that we're driving through right now, we're going to go on Powers Boulevard. It's a main north-south artery on the east side of Colorado Springs. We're going to be on a little bit today. But these cars are exiting off of Powers because it dead ends here at Interquest right now. You'll remember when we were back at the Voyager area, I mentioned that new interchange to I-25. So this section where we're at right now will actually connect up to Voyager. It goes through that Flying Horse development. Once that happens, the traffic, like the ease of getting on and off I-25 on the north end of town will be great if you live on the east side of town, because you'll be able to just get off on the far north side, take Powers Boulevard all the way down the east side of Colorado Springs without having to drive through town a whole bunch. So it's several years out from being completed, but that'll be a nice thing as far as traffic flow. Now, obviously, the people that live in Flying Horse and pay a pretty penny for their houses aren't super excited about that road going through. But it's been in the plan for 20-some years. So it was in the plan before Flying Horse was built. So the people knew when they bought there. But anyway, so up in the distance on that horizon there, you can see houses. That's Flying Horse. So to kind of give you a little bit of an idea, you can look at the map right now. You can see we're coming back to that south side of Flying Horse. We're going to turn off of Highway 83. Interquest changes into Highway 83 as you get north. We're going to turn and head east on Shoup Road. So we were on Hodgen earlier, and now Shoup is another main east-west route through Black Forest. So we're going to cruise down Shoup Road right now, show you a little bit more of Black Forest. We'll take one little detour, kind of take you up to Cathedral Pines. We won't do a real detailed drive through the area, but there's a couple things that I want to show you up there. One is Cathedral Pines, a community. It's a gorgeous community, beautiful homes in there. But there's also a park that I think is pretty cool that we take our little guy to. I want to show you guys. So over on the left over here, there's a couple communities, Bridal Bit Ranch, and the other name is escaping me. They kind of blend together. They just have 2 different signs at the entrances. But these homes are very nice, larger homes. What is it? I'm going to drive New Breed Ranch. That's it. New Breed and Bridal Bit. So these 2 communities, very nice houses, larger lots, 2.5 acres plus. Some of these houses are, 10, 15,000 square feet. Pretty expensive houses too. So there's some new ones. There's a couple new ones that got built right off of Shoup here that it was pretty fun watching them get built. They're some pretty crazy houses. There's one right there we just passed that it feels like I should be on a California or on a Carolina coast somewhere. And then that one right there to the left feels like it should be on the California coast. So just interesting. I think a lot of people, they bring the architecture of the home they decide to build from wherever they came from. So we definitely have, there's been a good influx of folks moving from California here to the Colorado Front Range area. So you kind of, whenever they build a new house, you can kind of see that influence a little bit. So this part of Black Forest, there's not any new development community. So this is kind of, I like to say, original old Black Forest, not original old like late 1800s, but a lot of 80s, some 70s built homes that are on 5 acres. And again, when these homes were built, I mean, this was out in the middle of nowhere. Like there was nothing north of Academy and I-25, which I'll show you that intersection today. So this far north, there was just nothing. So this truly was just way out in the country. Even 20 years ago. So when the homes were built, it most certainly was. And this road's going to take us right into the little town center of Black Forest. I use that term loosely. You'll see when we get there. It's not much of a town. There's just a couple buildings, but it's the original Black Forest. I want to show it to you guys. All right, so we're going to turn left here. This is going to be Milam Road, Milam, however you want to say it. And this is going to take us, I'll go show you Cathedral Pines real quick, and we're going to come back, and I'm going to actually take you guys through this Black Forest Regional Park. Like I said, I think it's a really cool park. It's got a lot of trails, sporting fields, playground. I'll show more to you guys. We're actually going to get out and walk around a little bit whenever we get back down here. So all this area on the right is all Black Forest Regional Park. And as we pop up this hill, we're going to see some more of the damage from the Black Forest fire from a few years ago. I don't know if you guys can see over to the right, but there's kind of just broad open swaths of land. That was all, densely treed. Whenever the fire came through, they really tried to, protect homes, of course, more than just open trees. They tried to do the best they possibly could to protect all the trees too. But at the end of the day, it was save the houses and kind of had to sacrifice some of the trees. So that's what we saw a lot of here in the Black Forest. But the Black Forest Regional Park it suffered a lot of damage. They kept the fire out of Cathedral Pines, but they kind of sacrificed a lot of the park by doing that. So it's grown back a lot. As I mentioned, I think it's been 7-8 years maybe now. Whenever the Black Forest fire took place, a lot of the homes have been rebuilt. I'd say most of the lots have been rebuilt. Some of the lots just sold off and other people came in and rebuilt. Some families decided to rebuild on the same lot they were in. But it was a traumatic time for folks living in the Black Forest. At the time, we were living not in the forest where we're at now, but we were right on the edge of Black Forest. So yeah, it was a bad deal. All right, so this is Cathedral Pines. As I mentioned, beautiful homes. You're in the 7 figures to be in here. Low 7 figures, $1 million is on the, I would say, probably entry level. We've had some clients purchase close to $2 million in here. Now, and it's been a little while ago, at least, a year or two ago. So prices have went up a lot since then. So definitely a very nice community. Super quiet. Again, it's kind of tucked up here in Black Forest. So there's no reason for anyone to drive through Cathedral Pines. None of these they're all community roads. They don't take you anywhere. So there's really no reason for folks to drive through here. So we will, we got some time. We got a lot of driving to do anyway. So I like Cathedral Pines. I'll take you guys just through a little bit more here. And of course, if there's any of these communities that we touch on today that we maybe don't get into a lot of detail of, let us know. Call, text, email, hit us up in the comments, whatever it is. Let us know if there's anything you want more information on, because it's going to be the same as I tour you guys around the northeast side of town, and then you guys get to hang out with Sam and Andrew and Madison a little bit later on as they tour you through the other parts of town. We're all going to hit on a lot of communities that, we'd have our video would be 48 hours, right? If we touched on everything in great detail. So we're just going to give you a little peek into some of the neighborhoods, some a little bit more than others. But if you guys want more information, let us know. Happy to give it to you. We'll do another tour, do another video, give you the details. If you are headed this way and you want a little bit more information about any specific area, definitely reach out directly to us, and we'll give you a personal walking tour, FaceTime with you, whatever you want. We just want to make sure if you have interest in our pretty cool community of Colorado Springs, that you get all the info. So you can probably see, as we're kind of looking at the video of me driving here, that there's some pretty nice houses up here in Cathedral Pines. This is the one I wanted to show you, the one that's straight ahead of my car right now. I think that house is super cool. It's got kind of like a portico and a whole other second house garage suite thing going. I think it's about 12,000 square feet, if I remember right. So a pretty large home. Hasn't sold since it was built, I don't believe. I think it's still the original owners that have that house. Another thing that really a lot of people like about Cathedral Pines is that you get just the way the train is and the way the houses sit up here. You get a lot of views of Pikes Peak from a lot of the lots in Cathedral Pines. Some of the ones down low, not so much, but the ones up high, you most certainly can have some pretty amazing views of Pikes Peak. And these homes over here to the right, these are the ones when I was mentioned earlier of a potential change in Flying Horse North to some smaller lots. These are the lots that back to Flying Horse North, and those are the folks that aren't super happy about potential changes and increasing that density of homes. And you will see in Cathedral Pines, there's probably, I think there's about 5 or 6 homes for sale right now in Cathedral Pines, which is more than normal. We usually don't see quite that many homes for sale in here, and I think my opinion is really that is a lot of that's based on, 5, 6, 7 years ago, Cathedral Pines, whilst an amazing community then for sure, just the home prices weren't as high. So maybe a home that somebody maybe bought for $750,000, $800,000 is now it's in the 1 point somethings, so it's like 1.1 to 1.5. So I think a lot of it is people are taking advantage of the market a little bit and cashing out. Just that's how real estate is. Sometimes you get lucky and you buy at the right time. So that could be the case for some of the people up here. So that was a little bit of a detour there. Like I said, I like the community, and it's a nice community on the north end of town. So I guess since I'm doing the north end tour today, you guys get stuck looking at whatever I want to look at, and I like that community. So Cathedral Pines. Now we're going to roll back down, like I said, to the Black Forest Regional Park, and we're just going to jump out real fast. I'll give you guys a real quick kind of spin around in a circle so you guys can see everything that it has to offer. There's a lot of trails and stuff. We're not going to go run any trails today, but if you guys have some interest in the north part of town, you like having a nice big regional park in the trees, definitely look up Black Forest Regional Park. I think it's on the county website maybe, but anyway, Google it, you can find it, and it'll give you all the kind of like a map of the trails, the distances, and all that kind of stuff. There's a lot of, I've run a lot in that area, and I don't know if I've been on the same trail too many times, so a lot of options in there. we're going to turn into the main parking lot here. Like I said, we're just going to jump out real fast, and I'll show you guys kind of what all it has to offer here real quick. All right, so we just parked here at the Black Forest Regional Park. Hopefully you guys can hear the audio pretty good. I don't have my mic on, but so this is the main parking lot. You can see there's some picnic shelters up there. Won't go into a whole lot of detail there. There's if we pan this way, you can see back there's some tennis courts, and there's a trail that heads back that direction. So I'm just gonna kind of turn around here so you guys can see the whole place. So like I said, there's lots of trails that you can run through the forest. A lot of those trails are in that open burn area I mentioned earlier now. So it's a cool playground area. My little guy, he's 4, he likes to hang out here and play on the slide and everything else. So, and just past here, you'll see there's a big flat field area. A lot of soccer games here, you know, a little, I say pee-wee soccer, I don't know what the right term for it is, but small kids playing soccer. So even during the week, and then certainly on the weekends, you have to reserve the field. If there's nobody else here like today, you'll probably see some guys out here playing ultimate frisbee or, you know, flag football or something like that. But this is Black Forest Regional Park. This is kind of the heart of it, you know, just like I said, the amenities, and then there's a lot of trails to run on as well. So it's just a nice park here in Black Forest. There's one other park we're going to go by too. It's called Section 16. We'll talk about that whenever we get over there. So yeah, we'll jump back on the road, and I just wanted to show that to you guys real quick. All right, so we are back on the road again. We're going to continue on Shoup Road, headed east out to the little town of Black Forest proper. All right, so we are getting into the city, town, if you will, of Black Forest. Like I said, there's not a lot here. It's kind of just more residential housing, but there's one intersection, Shoup and Black Forest, where there's a couple little things. I think I've mentioned one in another video we did, Black Forest Bistro, which is right here coming up on our left-hand side. Used to be, I think it was Descar's. It was a little roadhouse kind of bar pub thing, but now it's actually a high-end restaurant. So Black Forest Bistro, really good. Far over to the left there, it's the original Black Forest Community Center, log structure over there. There's a couple churches right here, and we're going to turn south, and it's actually, I think it might be farmers market time. That's why there's a lot of cars out. At this gas station here, there's a Firehouse Southern Style Barbecue is right there as well, kind of attached to it. There's a feed store, feed and supply. As I mentioned, there's a couple churches right up here as well. There's over on the left-hand side, there's a place called Wedgwood. It's a venue. It used to be a wedding venue. I think you can rent it out for any kind of event that you want. So now we're headed south on Black Forest Road. And we're going to go past just a little bit more, commercial stuff, if you will, some stuff to do. If you're out here in Black Forest, it's just really kind of places to grab something to eat or maybe grab a drink at. Show those to you. And then what we're going to do is from here, we are actually going to circle out to Falcon, show you Falcon real quick, and then we're going to drive back Woodman Road, which is a main east-west thoroughfare. Going to take that all the way back into Colorado Springs, and then show you some of the north side of Colorado Springs between Woodman and up to Interquest, where we were at earlier today. So coming up here on the left is going to be a place called The Coop, the Chicken Coop. It is a bar that has been in Black Forest for a quick minute. Not a bad place to check out. And then on the right-hand side, there's a Subway and a really good place I really like. It's called Black Forest Brewery. It's a retired Air Force couple, both retired colonels from the Air Force, husband and wife, opened Black Forest Brewery. I'm going to go to Falcon, sorry guys. So it's a really good place. They have It is German style beer. So I spent some time in Germany when I was in the service, so I really like the beers there. Donovan is the gentleman's name that owns it with his wife. He does a really good job. He's kind of the brewmaster for it. Does a really good job. I really like the beer. So Black Forest Brewery, if you're in the area. Nice fire station there on the right hand side. I think after the Black Forest fire, I think the monies devoted to Black Forest fire departments kind of went up a little bit, which is a good thing. So so we are driving eastbound now on Burgess Road. So Burgess Road is kind of the next road to the south that is a major road through Black Forest heading east and west. So we're headed east on Burgess right now, and this is going to take us all the way back to essentially the north side of the development of Falcon. So Falcon is its own separate little town east of Colorado Springs, separated by, now probably separated by maybe 10 minutes. But we're going to go tour Falcon a little bit. So now we're just going to be driving for the next few minutes. Again, just through Black Forest. We're going to make one stop on the way, though. Right on Burgess Road here is that other park that I mentioned, Section 16 Park. I don't know if that's the official name for it. We'll look and see what the sign says. But it's a really cool park, too. It's 1 mile square, bordered by Burgess, Vollmer, Shoup, and Herring Road, I think it is, that is on the west side of it. Anyway, it's so there's a 4 mile trail that goes all the way around the perimeter of it. You'll see a lot of people out, not just walking or jogging, running, but also horseback riding. So there's a nice area to park trailers in there, and it's a nice place that a lot of local folks here in Black Forest, if they want to take their horses out for a little bit longer walk, we'll take them up here to the Section 16 area. So we're going to pull in there real quick, jump out, just like 30 seconds maybe. I'll kind of show you guys the parking area. So if you're in the area, you're familiar with it, you know where it's at. So like I said, we're right on Burgess, almost to the intersection of Vollmer and Burgess. And this park does get pretty busy, especially early morning, like maybe like 7 or 8 o'clock. It's not too early, but 7 or 8 o'clock it gets pretty busy. And then at the end of the day, and when the weather's nice, it's even busier. So, and it is called Black Forest Section 16, so I was right on the name there. So Section 16, in case you're wondering, is because whenever they lay out a map in a township and range pattern, there's section numbers, and a section is a mile square. I believe that's 640 acres. And it used to be that Section 16 would be reserved for public open space. So from back in the day, this is one that was reserved for open space, and it stayed that way. So yeah, so let's jump out here real quick. I'll just kind of show you guys around real fast, kind of what the parking lot, trailhead area looks like, so you're familiar with it if you head up this way. All right, so this is the parking lot area. Like I said, there's nice parking for trailers here, so that's why you see a lot of folks on horseback. Up none here right now, but that'd be the parking lot for the trailers. Little outhouse down there. That's so that's the way the trail goes. One direction is right there. That's the trailhead, and then you can just kind of see the parking lot area. I'll just kind of spin you around here real quick, and then walk over here. I'll just kind of show you where the other trailhead is, and then kind of where we came back into, just kind of orient you a little bit. So over this direction, right there, that's the other trailhead. So like I said, it's a 1 mile loop around. You see a lot of folks out walking their dogs, running, stuff like that. But yeah, so anyway, it's actually one of my favorite places to go. I've run this, I don't even know how many times, but it's a nice fun run. It's kind of easy terrain. There's not a lot of ups and downs to it. So, but yeah, so Black Forest Section 16 Regional Park is where we're at right now. All right, so we're leaving that Section 16 park. And like I said, we're just going to drive on down, continue east on Burgess over to Meridian Ranch, which is going to be that far north side of Falcon. So once we get over there, I'll kind of tell you guys a little bit more about Falcon, about the community over there. All right, so as you can see, we've popped out of the trees from Black Forest proper into what now is the far north side of what's considered Falcon. So again, Falcon, own separate little town, east of Colorado Springs, about 10 minutes from the far east side of Colorado Springs to get out to it. And we're going to make that drive back so you'll get a good feel for it. Yeah, so this area, it's, again, man, just with all the development, it used to be kind of in the middle of nowhere, really, is what people thought of it. And now the city's just grown so much, it's almost connected to Colorado Springs. So the area that we're in right now, these are larger lots, relatively speaking. They're not subdivision lots, I guess is what I probably should say. They're, half acre up to an acre, some 2 acre lots kind of over on the right hand side. On the left hand side, there's just a couple houses up here that are on, larger 10 acre plus parcels. But as we top over this hill, you're going to see more houses out in the distance, and those houses are part of Meridian Ranch. You can kind of see them out past this next little hill. So Meridian Ranch and Woodland Hills are the two main communities as far as subdivisions in Falcon, and those are both a golf course community. You may have seen us talk a little bit in other videos about those communities. So Antler Creek Golf Course runs through Woodland Hills and Meridian Ranch. The clubhouse is actually in Meridian Ranch, but the course runs through both of them. You kind of, from the clubhouse, you kind of go south and you play the first 9, come back to the clubhouse, you know how it is, and the other 9 are north in Meridian Ranch. So Meridian Ranch, I personally think it's a great community. Full disclosure, I lived there for 10 years, so I've got a bit of a soft spot for it. But I really like it as a community. It's got a lot of trails to walk, hike, run, whatever you want to do on. It has a really nice rec center with indoor-outdoor pool. We are not going to drive through the neighborhood today. We're just going to kind of drive down beside the neighborhood. So Meridian Ranch is on our left-hand side right now, so you can see it in some of the video there. But yeah, it's a great community. Home prices stay good. We're actually getting ready to list a house. It's on the golf course. It's actually our old next-door neighbor. From when we lived in Meridian Ranch, their house is going to be mid-6s, and it's about 4,300 square feet or so. So just to give you a little data point for Meridian Ranch, can still get in there maybe in the mid-4s for some of the smaller houses, I would say. And then, up from there, 600-700. There's some on the north side of Meridian Ranch. There's an area called Meridian Ranch Estates, which are larger 2-acre parcels. And those lots, you're 800,000 maybe for some of those. But anyway, so that's Meridian Ranch over on the left-hand side. On the right-hand side, it's a community called Paintbrush Hills. It's a little bit older. There's not a rec center there. Less restrictive HOA, which a lot of people really like. Meridian Ranch does have a more restrictive HOA, but Paintbrush Hills is on the right-hand side as we're driving south. We're driving south on Meridian Road. So Meridian Road, and again, you can see the map right now we're showing. Actually, if you were to go north about 5 minutes on Meridian Road, it would be at the same point that we started our tour at when I said we were at the corner of Meridian and Hodgen. So we're headed south on Meridian out towards Falcon proper. Over on the left-hand side, new commercial development they put in. There's, of course, there's Meridian Ranch liquor store. You gotta have a liquor store, right? Nana's Kitchen, omelets, etc. There's a sushi place there. There's a new distillery I haven't been to yet. I gotta check that out. Jack's Brewery is a cool local brewery owned by a couple retired Air Force guys. Place called the Purple Toad. It's changed ownership a couple times, but I was just told this weekend that one of the partners of Jack's may have purchased the Purple Toad to renovate it. It's got the potential to be a really cool sports bar. TVs everywhere. Just in the past, the food hasn't been that great, honestly. And when you have Jack's right next door, the beer at Jack's is better than a Purple Toad. So anyway, that's a little commercial section. So that's really nice if you live in the Falcon area, that there's some stuff, little brewery, some restaurants to go to, things like that. Now on the left-hand side, we're driving past Woodland Hills. So right where that commercial development that we just drove past that's at the corner of Stapleton and Meridian. North of Stapleton is Meridian Ranch. South of Stapleton is Woodland Hills. So we're driving past Woodland Hills on the left-hand side right now, and still Paintbrush Hills on the right-hand side. And in Woodland Hills, the price points of homes are a little bit less in Woodland Hills. Not a lot. There used to be more of a difference, but Woodland Hills, there's multiple filings in Meridian Ranch as well, but they still have all the same covenants, conditions, and restrictions, and they still have the same management company handling all of Meridian Ranch, and the same. It's not an HOA. It's called a DRC, a Design Review Council. It's most people don't know what that term is. So it's essentially a homeowners association, but the developer still technically controls it because it's still being actively built out. There's another, I think it's another almost 2,000 homes that are approved for Meridian Ranch. But with Woodman Hills, it's a little bit different. It's a little bit older community than Meridian Ranch. So some of the filings within Woodman Hills no longer have an HOA, or even though there's still covenants in place, they're not enforced. So pros and cons, right? Some of Woodman Hills is not looking the best, and then some of the filings look really good still. So just if you're looking in the Falcon area, just know the Woodman Hills, it's different for everybody. It's all subjective, but it varies a lot throughout the filings. Just past that gas station we just drove by, right behind the gas station, there is another development called Bentgrass, and it's a development by Challenger Homes. And it's a good price point community. I think we have some clients that are going to build in there, and they're going to be in like the mid 300s, actually, mid to high 300s, which for a new home is a great price. So that's pretty cool. All this big open area on the right hand side is a huge new, it's going to be a big new Super King Supers and kind of all the stuff that goes with King Supers. So typically, from my understanding, from the meetings I've been to, whenever King Supers puts in a new store, there's kind of these other franchises that typically go with it. Not that it has to be a package deal, but they usually kind of go because they know the business model makes sense. So that's going to be a big change for Falcon, is that new Super King Supers and all the stuff that's going to go with it. I know there's going to be a handful of fast food places that are going to go with it. I don't know what kind of, like, if there's going to be much retail or that kind of stuff that initially goes in. I know they're going to build for it. I don't know how fast those shops will get filled up, though. So we're at the corner of Meridian and Woodman, I guess the heart of Falcon, as it is. So Falcon has pretty much everything that you need. You don't need to drive into Colorado Springs to get anything for the most part. There's a Walmart here over to our right. I don't know if you can see that in the camera or not, but there's a Walmart, there's a Safeway grocery store, and then there's, a handful of smaller restaurants. There's Guadalajara Mexican restaurant I really like. There's some fast food places. There's a McDonald's, a Wendy's, Carl's Jr., and Arby's. So you have some, also KFC, A&W. So you have some fast food places if you want to eat some of that stuff. There's also there's a couple pizza places. There's Domino's, Pizza Hut, Little Caesars. There's a Jimmy John's, and a handful of gas stations. So that's really Falcon. There is a daycare, Hope Montessori, here in Falcon. That's a well thought of daycare, if you will, for your little kiddos. They do everything from infants up to kindergarten. But yeah, so we'll turn at the light here. I'll just kind of drive through that. Or drive by that Safeway shopping area that I mentioned. And then that'll kind of be the tour of Falcon. Again, we're not going to take you out and about into all the sub areas of around Falcon. I just kind of wanted to show you what the town itself is. There's a couple auto parts stores here as well. Like I said, kind of everything you really kind of quote unquote need day in and day out is here. There's a farm and ranch store called Big R that is just out Highway 24. So Falcon there's an intersection of, we were just at Meridian and Woodman straight ahead of us here in a quarter mile tees into and dead ends into Highway 24. So Highway 24, US Highway 24 goes into Colorado Springs, and it goes all the way out to Lyman, out towards the Kansas border. But so you have east of Falcon, there's not much there right now. It's really still just open farm and ranch land. So a lot of folks that live out there in those smaller towns that don't have, its own grocery store, like Peyton, Callahan, Simla, those folks will come into Falcon because it's the closest thing to get to. So anyway, this is just the Safeway area, Wendy's. Like I said, there's an auto parts store down there. So we're just going to turn around here. Just kind of wanted to show you guys this real quick. Not that you haven't seen a grocery store before, but you can see all the things that are Burrito Grande. That's a really good place. Yeah, it's like fast food Mexican kind of. I think they have 2 or 3 shops in town now, but the owners are super, super nice folks. We did a little video for Burrito Grande right during COVID, actually, to try to kind of get them some more business because, like I said, they're great folks. La Mission, another Mexican restaurant here in Falcon. Their food's really good too. Typically go to Guadalajara a little bit more just because I think their carne asada is a little bit better, but La Mission has really good enchiladas. So if you like enchiladas, go to La Mission. All right, we are going to head westbound on Woodman Road. So this is the main road that goes east-west on the north side of Colorado Springs proper. And this is going to be as far south as you guys are going to get to tour with me. And then I'm going to hand it over to, I think Andrew will be doing the next section, which will be kind of the Powers Boulevard corridor over to Academy Boulevard. Real, like, kind of just real meat and potatoes, if you will, of Colorado Springs. So Woodman Road, westbound, on the left. Community, technically part of Woodman Hills. Courtyards at Woodman Hills is on the right-hand side. Just had some folks sell a house in there. They did pretty good whenever they sold. Actually, I think just closed on Friday. Over on the left-hand side, Falcon Highlands is the name of that community. Not a lot to say about it. It's a cool community. Limited or less restrictive HOA, which a lot of people really like. So you can, if you want to park your RV next to your house, things like that, you're able to do that in Falcon Highlands, whereas you can't in Meridian Ranch and most of Woodman Hills. So that's all those houses on the left-hand side. And something that's, to me, it's interesting. If you've never been to Colorado Springs, then you probably don't have a frame of reference for this, but I find it very interesting is that the distance between Falcon Highlands and Banning Lewis Ranch, which is a community we're going to drive by. I'm not going to take you through it. We're going to drive by it so you know where it's at. That distance used to be a lot, and there was a whole lot of cows and a whole lot of antelope, and now there's not much space at all, and there's a whole lot of excavators driving around. So that open area that you see past those large telephone poles out there to the left, that's to the south. You can see those homes out there. That's Banning Lewis Ranch. So that now is the eastern edge of Banning Lewis Ranch. And you can kind of hopefully get a little bit of a feel for how close that is to Falcon now, and that Falcon Highlands development that we just drove past. On the north side of the road, or to your right as I'm driving here, there's a big chunk of land that a development was approved for. It's called the Ranch, and it's going to be 5,000 houses that's going to go into that area. So this distance, kind of all that open land to the right, you probably can't see a lot of it right now, but just trust me, to the right, it's all open field. That area is going to be infilled with houses as well, so that really it will connect Falcon to the next set of neighborhoods we're going to drive by. So this distance along Woodman, like I said, it was just a ton of open ranch land. It's really filling in quickly. So to the south, again, to your right, to your left, that's Banning Lewis Ranch. So you can see the dirt work being done right there. Between Woodman Road and those houses that you see off to the left, that section is not going to be more houses built. That's actually zoned commercial. So eventually, 2, 5, 10, 15 years down the road, that side of Woodman will all be developed with commercial as well. And that's what will go to those. There's an easement for those telephone power poles over there as well. So that section will be commercial. And then on the right-hand side, like I said, it's still some larger parcels of land, acreage homes, so home sites on 5 acres, things of that nature. That's what you see to the right. And over on the left, just in case you're headed to Colorado Springs and your kiddos like soccer, Pride Soccer is the big soccer league for little kids. And I guess all the way up until, I think, middle school probably. But right back there is their big soccer facility. So there's not a lot of infrastructure. It's essentially, I think it's maybe like 6 soccer fields right next to each other. And then they kind of have some berms around it where parents can put up their lawn chairs, stuff like that. So on the right-hand side is another development, largely by Classic Homes. The name is totally escaping me right now, the name of that community. We're going to drive by the sign, maybe, and I might remember it. And on the left-hand side, so we're at the intersection of Mark Shuffle and Woodman Road right now. Mark Shuffle and Woodman. And everything to the southeast of this intersection is Banning Lewis Ranch. So that's a huge new development. It actually started before the recession, and then there was a huge pause / hiatus when the market kind of went down, and there were a lot of builders that went out of business, unfortunately. It was bought out by another developer, Oakwood Homes, out of Texas, and now the developer they build here in town. That's their main community, though, is Banning Lewis Ranch. So not only do they build in there, but they're the developer for the town, or for the community as well. And that area to the north, cannot think of the name of it. So I apologize for that, folks. We'll probably put it up on the screen right now so you know what it is. But it's Classic Homes and Challenger Homes are building in there. And again, it's been one of those communities that a little bit lower price point. You can see price all that sign Challenger mid 300s, which means really 400s. But anyway, that's a development that is kind of sprung up really fast. And then on the right-hand side here, this is Forest Meadows, is what you're seeing, these houses to the right. There's a big townhome development. All these tan, if you can see them in the camera kind of over this berm, all these tan buildings right here, they're townhomes are 4 townhomes per building. And it is crazy to me how many there are now. Like, I remember selling 1 or 2 of them when it was just this like first 2 buildings down here that we're about to go past right by this storage facility, and they just keep building them, and they can't build them fast enough. Like, they sell out a building before it's even done. So relatively speaking, for our area, really, really good price point though. I think that's why they sell so fast. I'm trying to think about which way we want to go. So we're about to be at the intersection of Woodman Road and Black Forest. And I think what I want to do, yeah, let's do this. I'm going to take you guys kind of through a couple communities. So we're going to go in a little bit of a loop, if you will. We're going to go through this intersection, and we are going to check out Wolf Ranch. I just want to drive you guys by it so you can see where Wolf Ranch is and Cordera. That back there, like I said, that is Forest Meadows, was that big community we drove by. There's some apartment buildings up here on the right. And to the left, it's still just some open commercial land. There's Heidrich's Tree Farm Nursery here, and then some other open stuff to the left. And then it's not too far south of here until you get right back into develop. There's kind of like a little strip of some commercial stuff, and that's right back into a lot of residential development. So as we slowly get up to this next major intersection is going to be Powers Boulevard. So we'll be at the corner of Woodman and Powers, which is a major intersection in Colorado Springs. And I kind of say it's the northeast of Colorado Springs, kind of that major intersection northeast of town. So from there to the southwest, it's just kind of true Colorado Springs, and to the northeast, you're kind of on the fringes of town between the town and Black Forest. Also up ahead, I mentioned a couple hospitals. So that hospital right there is the St. Francis Hospital. It's been there for, I say newer, but it's been there for probably close to 10 years now at this point. But St. Francis Hospital, so that's the closest major hospital to the Falcon area and kind of the areas east of town. And depending on how far north, maybe even to the north part of town, just because there's another hospital, which I think we'll probably drive by as we go through the Briargate area, and it's the Memorial North Hospital. So we'll show you guys that as well. But we're going to jump on Powers here. I was hesitating a little bit because there's some major construction going on right now on Powers. I don't want to get stuck in traffic here. But from Powers and Woodman, the intersection we're kind of at right now, we're about to head north, and we're going to go by a couple communities that are, I guess I will say, highly sought after communities, just so you guys know where those are as you're thinking about Colorado Springs, if you're like in the northeast part of town. And like I said, there's 2 that we're going to drive by specifically right now. It's Wolf Ranch and Cordera, and then there's another community that backs to Cordera called Bradley Ranch. So we'll kind of check that stuff out here real quick. But this intersection that we're going to come up on here, it's the intersection of Research and Powers, and they're actually building an overpass over top of Research. It's kind of the last section of Powers that traffic just really gets backed up whenever it's, traffic jam time, going to work, coming home, whatever it might be. So they're building an overpass over top of it, and that just is going to take a little while, and it's kind of a mess right now. So on the right-hand side, Wolf Ranch, great community, buying in the 5s and 6s and up. It seems like that's a trend for the north side of town, I guess, isn't it? Has a rec center, which is pretty nice. It's kind of the original community right in here. It was started before Cordera was. On the left-hand side of the road, if you can see over there, is what's kind of considered Briargate proper. So Briargate was a master planned community for essentially the whole northeast part of Colorado Springs, from I-25 and Academy, right where there's the Chapel Hills Mall, and behind that is Briargate. And those homes, that building started in the 80s and 90s. But the whole, because there just wasn't much out here then, that long ago, it was just kind of, even this was open ranch land. So they had a huge master plan for the Briargate community. So whenever you hear the term Briargate, which if you're looking to buy here in Colorado Springs, you talk to other people that live here, you'll probably hear that a lot. Briargate's the northeast part of town. of, you know, kind of Colorado Springs proper. District 20 schools, so highly rated schools. But it's a huge area. So some people consider Briargate just that part on the left side of the road here. And some people, because truly the Briargate master plan included Wolf Ranch and Cordera. It's just, you know, kind of been like a 40-year plan basically. So everything up in this area west of Powers is Briargate, and that's what the term you'll hear most people call it is Briargate. There's sub areas, there's Briargate, and then there's Pine Creek, which we'll drive by, Kettle Creek. But anyway, whenever you hear Briargate, excuse me, that's this part of town. So some new, this is actually a senior living facility. We just drove by there on the right-hand side, and then there's some apartments as well on the right-hand side. That was Liberty High School. We drove back on the left back there. Again, if you know people that live in the area, they might have some kiddos that go to school at Liberty. It's a good high school. We have some good friends that used to work there just until recently. So you can see some commercial stuff going on the right-hand side. It's mainly office space. There's not a lot of restaurants and things of that nature right along this section. So what we're going to do here is we're going to jump off of Powers at Briargate. And again, we're not going to take you through detailed neighborhoods today because, again, that would just take a long time. We'll do that, though. Try to do more of them, and then if you have one you really want to see, let me know. Call, text, email. Comment below. So this is Briargate Boulevard and Powers. So everything to my right, to your right as you're watching this here, is that's Cordera now. So this is kind of the dividing line, with Cordera being to the north here, straight ahead of us and to the right, and Wolf Ranch being behind us and to the right. Both communities are, I mean, honestly, they're largely the same. You know, they're great communities. They're nice homes, newer homes, quality builders. You know, there's some lower price builders in other parts of town. This part of town, it's been really pretty good quality builders that have built up here, so that's nice. Cordera has a really nice clubhouse rec center with a outdoor pool. It's called the Grand Hall. I think that's what they call it. You can reserve the space if you want to have an event or something like that. You can reserve that space at Cordera. And I think they may be building another rec center. I may have heard that. Cordera is actually just about built out. There's really not any lots remaining in Cordera to build on, so it's kind of just to the resale part now. It's probably been under construction, like almost being built for almost a decade now. So that's kind of a big change that it's built out. And then I mentioned that area, Bradley Ranch, which is adjacent to Cordera, backs right up to Black Forest. So that's that section up there. All right, so now we're driving through kind of the heart of Briargate. You know, there's on the right-hand side, there's Lowe's, there's a YMCA up in this area, some apartments on the left. We're going to cruise down Briargate Boulevard until we get to, let's see, I guess we'll take it all the way to, Interquest, and that'll kind of connect the dots a little bit for where we were at earlier today when we were at Interquest looking at a lot of that commercial stuff. So homes on the left, like I said, classic Briargate. You know, they're 90s, mid 2000s build. Home prices 500 plus. Again, it's just the trend in this area. You're going to be at a lower price point here than you are up in Northgate for sure, but you're still probably going to be in the 500s up here in Briargate for sure. So this UC Health Memorial North Campus that you can see straight ahead and to the right of us here, this is the other major hospital in the north end of town. So the north end of town, there's two major hospitals, I mean, not more than 5 minutes from each other. So there's a lot of healthcare, doctors' offices, things like that, kind of the ancillary offices you would expect to see around a hospital in this area. So a lot of the folks that work up here work in the healthcare industry. And then you're also only, I mean, we're not going to go by it today. You'll drive by it with Andrew here in a little bit. But Peterson Air Force Base is 15 minutes away. Air Force Academy is 15 minutes away, 10 to 15 minutes away, depending on where you're at on the academy. So close to military installations as well. So a lot of military folks in Briargate that work on Peterson or on the Air Force Academy. Let's see, up here on the right, this is a pretty cool it's not pretty cool, it's an awesome new park. Cannot remember the name of it. We'll drive by the sign. It's named after an individual, I believe, but it's New Park on Briargate is what I call it. It's has a lot of stuff. It's got open fields to play on, playground equipment for the kids. Got a ton of pickleball courts. don't know if you guys are into pickleball, but it's taken over the world, I think, right now. So a lot of pickleball courts. You can maybe see out there that really bright green grass. It's too bright for this time of year. It's fake grass, but it's a huge field area to play soccer on. Again, you'll have a lot of kids playing soccer out there, little kiddos. And then, yeah, you can kind of see the rest of the park over there, the green roofed structures. And more residential Briargate as we drive through on the right-hand side, and then up on the hill to the left you can see. So, there's several communities within Briargate that, they're all kind of Briargate, and they're, in my opinion, they're largely the same. They differ some for sure, but you'll see these signs at the entrance of them a lot. Like that's actually Pine Creek that we just drove by on the right-hand side, and then as Pine Creek goes a little bit to the north, transitions, in my opinion, a little bit. There is a golf course. Pine Creek is a golf course community. The homes farther to the south kind of blend in with the rest of Briargate, and as you get a little bit farther north, the homes are a little bit bigger, a little bit nicer, a little bit newer. But anyway, so yeah, we're just kind of driving through residential Briargate area right now. All right, so now we're kind of out of the residential piece of it, and we're just into some commercial stuff. Let's see, there's a breakfast place back there that's pretty good, Egg and I. Let's see here. Chewy's Tacos over there on the left-hand side, that's pretty good. A lot of office stuff in this area too, so not anything too crazy. There is a pizza place called Basil and Barley that's just on the left up on the hill there. Super good pizza. We did a little interview with the owner there too. Great guy. They make some really awesome pizza. So Basil and Barley, if you like kind of hand-tossed, fresh-made pizza, that's definitely a place you got to check out if you're up on this end of town. Focus on the Family. That's that really large building we just passed on the left. Nonprofit, faith-based organization headquartered here in Colorado Springs. This area to the left right now is Shops at Briargate. So it used to be kind of like the real fancy pants, I guess, shopping in Colorado Springs. So there's some stores that we typically didn't see in Colorado Springs that are in Shops at Briargate. I can't think of any of them off the top of my head right now, but there's some nicer, I don't want to say high-end shopping, but there's some nice shopping in there. There's also some nice restaurants. There's Modern Market is in there. There's a burger place that's in there that I can't think of the name of right now. Put that on the screen right now too, but it's good. And of course you got a Starbucks in there. Like I said, you got a Starbucks everywhere. So that's the Briargate Business Campus, I think, is kind of what the area is called technically. So anyway, that's the Briargate area. It's such a large part of the Northeast. It's like I said, it's largely all of the Northeast part of Colorado Springs proper before you get to Black Forest. But a lot of it's just that. It's like what we drove through. There's, it's a great area, great schools, nice houses. Price points have went up, but it's still a solid price point for Colorado Springs. Amenities close by, shopping, supermarket, whatever it might be. So there's a big demand for Briargate, and a lot of it, all the way from Woodman up to Interquest, is largely what we just drove down on Briargate. So I just wanted to get you kind of a general feel for it as we drive around today. Just to the ahead to the right, you may not be able to see it with that truck in the way, but there's a nice newer looking building over there you might see here before we turn. But that's the Colorado National Guard built a new facility there a couple years ago. That's what that is. That's just one of their facilities here locally. All right, so we are back on Voyager. So we drove the intersection of Voyager and Interquest earlier today. Went through a lot of fast growth up there. That's where the Shields was, things like that. So now there's just a little gap that we didn't drive on Voyager, which it's just kind of more residential stuff. So now we're driving south on Voyager, and we're going to come to the intersection of really kind of where North Academy Boulevard runs into I-25 on the north side. Obviously a lot more stuff now that we're kind of in the city. You got a big Walmart over here. You got a lot of restaurants. We're going to drive down Academy just a little bit to Woodman, and then we're going to head back east on Woodman. And yeah, we're going to take that back to Powers, in Woodman, which was a big intersection we're at earlier by the hospital. And that's largely going to wrap up what I wanted to show you guys today. Man, like I said, we could drive around for 2 days showing you Colorado Springs. So I know we got to limit it somewhere. I got to kind of stop myself from showing you every single little nook and cranny and neighborhood and restaurant I like to eat at. But this is an overview. I want you guys to understand the city a little bit. Just get to know parts of town. So if you're thinking about heading this way, or maybe you're already here but you're kind of thinking about moving around somewhere, I just want to make sure you understand all the parts of town and the basics of them. And like I said, please don't hesitate. If you want more information on anything that we drove by 60 miles an hour today, or maybe something I mentioned real fast but didn't cover in detail, or a community you think you might like, let us know. Like I said, we'll go do a tour of it, and we'll post a video on it. And if there's something real specific that you want, reach out to us and we'll do a little FaceTime action with you so you can see exactly what you wanted to see. All right, so we're headed south on Academy now. Academy is, and I'm only going to take you down a short little piece of it to Woodman, and then Andrew will probably show you most of the rest of it, and Sam might show you a little bit of it as well. But so Academy Boulevard, used to be the main north-south thoroughfare through Colorado Springs, other than I-25, until Powers was built. So Powers Boulevard, you hear stories from people that have lived here for whatever, 25, 35, 50 years. Powers used to be a dirt road, like way out east. Nobody ever went out there. Now it's like the main part of, whatever, expansion in the Springs. So there's a lot of stuff on Academy. There is, it's just all the normal commercial stuff you would expect to see on a major thoroughfare through a town of this size. So restaurants of any kind that you would want, both chain and we're starting to see a lot more smaller franchises, which is cool. Best Buy, Walmart, Home Depot, PetSmart, everything you can think of is available. And you can see how sunny it is today. It's awesome. It's Colorado. I love it. It's November something to now. Beginning of November. It's 55 degrees out and sunny. It's a gorgeous Colorado day. Makes me not miss the days growing up in the Midwest, that's for sure. If you live in the Midwest right now, there's nothing wrong with that at all. Just Colorado, the sun, it's amazing. I like it a lot better. Five Guys burgers. I think Five Guys is most places across the country now. I know when Five Guys first opened up here, I was amazed by it. So great burgers. If you are not familiar with Five Guys, I might go there whenever we wrap our tour up today. So right here at this intersection, there's probably a big sign there, Home Depot, and then REI is another cool place in town, especially if you like to do outdoor stuff. It's they don't have hunting type stuff, but anything other like climbing, skiing, hiking, running, any of that other stuff outside that's not hunting related. REI has a lot of equipment for that. So if you want to get a tent, sleeping bag, whatever it is, REI is a good place to go. All right, so we're at the intersection of Academy and Woodman right now. Like I said, we're going to go straight east on Woodman, and we're going to take it all the way back to the intersection of Woodman and Powers, which is where we were at about, 20 minutes ago maybe, where that big hospital was. So you guys can look at the map we got going right now, and you can see kind of the route that we've taken. Little circuitous maybe, I guess, kind of all over the place, but the way the roads are laid out in Colorado Springs, it kind of makes the most sense to do this to try to get you familiar with the area. So that's why we're doing it this way. East on Woodman Road. That's where we're driving right now. Look, it's going to be kind of like a lot of roads in Colorado Springs, a lot of roads everywhere, I guess, where the main thoroughfares, it's commercial up to the road, and then once you get behind that commercial, it's residential. So largely the same thing. Briargate To the left, so to the north of Woodman, is Briargate area. This is a little pocket, kind of a cool little pocket of homes that are on up to an acre. Some even a little bit more than an acre. But again, this used to be kind of just like far northeast part of Colorado Springs before everything grew around it. So there's some larger homes on a really, really large lots for a city lot just to our left there. Not a lot of them come on the market. When they do, man, they go super fast because it's a pretty big draw to have, you know, a nice home, large home on like an acre of land, right? I mean, almost in the city, essentially. So we're Woodman and Union right now. Union Boulevard heads north and wraps and kind of squiggles through Briargate, and then it goes all the way back up to that new hospital that we saw, that UC Memorial Health Campus North that we drove by. Union goes right by that hospital as well, so that's a major north-south thoroughfare. And Woodman Road, like I said, it's on the north end of town. It is the major east-west thoroughfare, so it goes from I-25 all the way up to Falcon, like you guys saw. We drove on it a good bit out there earlier. So let's kind of give you guys an idea of what the terrain, if you will, looks like around on Woodman Road here. All right, so we are rolling back up to the Powers and Woodman intersection. We're actually going to turn right here and just about end the tour, I think, guys. This is we're one light away from that intersection, and there's not much between here and there except for a Home Depot and a gas station and some apartments and a new hotel. So I guess there's a little bit of stuff, but anyway, it's yeah, that's a pretty quick. I know time-wise, man, I think we've been driving around for a couple hours now, but for a tour of the northeast part of town, kind of that 12 to 3 on the clock face, if you will, that's it, man. I'm gonna hand it over to Andrew now, and Andrew's gonna hit you guys up with the 3 o'clock down to about the 6 o'clock. So thanks for hanging out, and like I said, really honestly, if you guys any questions, anything about an area, a specific place, whatever it is, Colorado Springs, surrounding area, let us know. Hit us up, call, text, email, and like I said, I want to toss you over to Andrew now, and we'll catch up with you guys soon. Take care.